They said his plane was dead. The engine was gone, the controls were frozen, and the sky around him was owned by one of Germany's deadliest aces. Any normal pilot would have bailed out, but he didn't, because in that split second, with smoke pouring through the cockpit and metal ripping off the wings, he realized something terrifying. If he didn't stay in the fight, hundreds of men on the ground would die. This is the impossible true story of the Allied pilot who flew a dying aircraft, outmaneuvered a Nazi ace, and somehow made it home. The sky over Europe wasn't blue that morning, it was metal. Tracers tore through the air as a squadron of P-47 Thunderbolts raced across enemy lines. And leading the formation was LT Marcus Hale, a man known for one thing: he never broke formation, no matter what was coming. But today, something else was coming. Just seconds after spotting German fighters in the distance, Hale's aircraft shuddered violently. A burst from an FW-190 ripped through his engine block, blowing out to cylinders instantly. The propeller coughed, choked, and nearly stopped. Smoke flooded the cockpit. The radio crackled with panicked voices telling him to bail out. Yet Hale didn't reach for the eject lever, because below him, pinned in a valley, an American armored column was under attack. If he bailed, they would lose their air cover, and the Germans knew it too. He could see their tanks repositioning, preparing for a kill strike. Hale slammed his fist against the dead throttle and swore under his breath the controls were freezing one by one. But his mission wasn't over. Not yet. He pulled the crippled plane into a shallow dive, using gravity as his new engine. The world blurred. The wings groaned. His squadron watched in disbelief as Hale aimed a dying aircraft straight back toward the enemy, alone. As he descended, something else appeared in the corner of his eye. A black-nosed FW-190, the markings of a German ace, and he was coming straight for Hale. The real fight was only just beginning. The German ace had a reputation, the kind pilots whispered about in briefing rooms. Black nose, white kill marks, and a hunting style so precise it felt mechanical. To him, Hale's crippled P-47 wasn't a threat, it was prey. Hale saw the German lining up behind him, the FW-190 gliding in smoothly, confidently, like a wolf closing in on an injured deer. His own aircraft was barely staying in the sky. The engine sputtered, the gauges dropped to zero, and every instinct told him, you can't dogfight in this state. You'll die. But then Hale remembered something his instructor once told him. A dead engine doesn't mean a dead plane. Gravity is still an engine, if you know how to use it. Hale didn't turn away. He didn't run. He pointed the nose straight at the ace. For a split second, the German hesitated, confused. No pilot in his right mind charges head-on with a dying aircraft. But Hale wasn't in his right mind. He pushed the stick forward, forcing his P-47 into a screaming dive. The airframe rattled violently. Panels tore off, but speed. He still had speed. Tracer rounds streaked past his canopy as the German opened fire. Hale rolled the aircraft using the last responsive control surface he had, a nearly frozen aileron. It wasn't clean, it wasn't smooth, but it was just enough. The two planes shot past each other, barely 10 meters apart. Instantly, the chase flipped. The German ace pulled hard into a climbing turn, expecting Hale to stall, spin, or crash instead. Hale used the dive momentum to sling himself upward behind the German, a move no pilot with a healthy engine would attempt, let alone one with a dying one. Now the German ace wasn't the hunter, he was the hunted. The German ace tried every trick he knew, spirals, scissors, tight climbs, maneuvers that usually shook off even the best American pilots. But Hale wasn't flying with precision anymore, he was flying with desperation. And desperation is unpredictable. Every time the German turned, Hale's dead P-47 groaned, shuddered, and somehow followed. Smoke poured from the engine. A cylinder casing had blown open. Oil smeared across the windscreen. Hale could barely see, but he could feel the enemy in front of him. The radio exploded with disbelief from his squadron. Hale, break off, you're gonna drop out of the sky, your engine is done. But Hale didn't answer. He was locked in. The German ace made one fatal mistake. a climbing turn he assumed Hale couldn't match, and under normal circumstances, he would have been right. But Hale wasn't climbing with engine power. He was climbing with the last of his dive momentum. The P-47 clawed upward, like a dying animal refusing its final breath. Hale lined up his shot. The gun sight flickered. His vision blurred. He squeezed the trigger. The .50 cals roared. Sparks ripped across the Germans. Wing fuel ignited. The Ace's aircraft spiraled downward in a corkscrew of fire. Silence. No cheering. No triumph. Just breathing, ragged, shaking, disbelieving. His plane was falling apart. Every second in the sky was borrowed time. Hale turned toward his distant airfield, knowing the hardest part was still ahead. He had to land a plane that shouldn't even be flying. The crew on the ground stared at the sky, hearing the P-47 before they ever saw it, a broken, coughing ghost dragging itself home. And when Hale finally appeared over the treetops, trailing smoke like a comet, no one could believe what they were witnessing. He wasn't just returning. He was returning, victorious. As Hale approached the runway, the control tower erupted with warnings, shouting that his landing gear might not lock, that his propeller was barely turning, that the plane could stall at any moment. But Hale didn't need the reminders. He could feel every failing piece of his P-47, every vibration telling him the aircraft was seconds from giving up. Rehook, raised tension, the engine coughed once, coughed again, then fell silent, dead, mid-air. Hale was now gliding a 10,000-pound brick of metal toward the airstrip with nothing but instinct, and the memory of 100 other landings, guiding his hands. His squadron watched from the ground, frozen. Breathless as the silent Thunderbolt descended, he cleared the tree line by inches. The moment the wheels touched the earth, the landing gear buckled. The P-47 skidded, scraping across the runway in a shower of sparks. Metal screamed. Dust erupted behind it. A wing tore loose and tumbled away. The wreckage slid nearly 100 yards before finally grinding to a halt. Silence again. For a full 5 seconds, no one moved. Then the canopy cracked open. Hale stepped out, bleeding, shaking, covered in engine oil, and the entire airfield erupted in disbelief. He had not only survived a dead plane, he had shot down one of the Luftwaffe's best pilots after his aircraft should be fallen from the sky. Mechanics later confirmed what everyone already suspected. The Thunderbolt should have crashed minutes into the fight. It should not have climbed. It should not have fired. It absolutely should not have returned home. Yet somehow, pilot and machine had refused to die. Word spread through the airfields, then across Europe, becoming one of the most legendary survival stories of the air war, a reminder that sometimes victory comes from the pilots who keep fighting, long after logic and machinery say the battle is over. Hale never called himself a hero, but every man who watched him fly that day knew the truth. He performed the impossible. If this story pulled you into the cockpit and showed you the bravery of the pilots who fought against impossible odds, then don't let their legacy fade. Like this video, subscribe to World War Ashes and share your thoughts in the comments. Which WWII aviation story should I bring to life next? Your support keeps these forgotten legends alive.